Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to Krishna Book Part 3, class number 6. This is the first day of Kartik, Ki Jai. And we're gonna pick up where we left off in the Krishna book.
Beautiful.
But first we'll have a short kirtan.
Yeah.
Do you want to actually lead it? Yeah. We'll have a short kirtan, and then we'll and just a preview, we're gonna conclude our Krishna book reading with the Damodar Ashtakam and more kirtan.
Audio on. Short kirtan. I'm not known for those. Starting with our opening prayers. Clearing breath first, just to shift from wherever we were, whatever we were doing today, to being here in community, spiritual community, together under the light of the full moon, under the light of this beautiful month of Kartik, where all your dreams come true. Take a deep breath in, fill up. Open your mouth, exhale, let it go. Sip it in, sip it in, sip it in. Jnanam samardasya, jnanam shalakaya, chakshunattamena, tasmai shri gurave namah. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavai, Achataya Deshataya, Panchakalpatruvyascha, Vipasindhuveva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare P. Study group P. Kartik P.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripasindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any reflections from last week's readings? We read about Krishna's fight with Banasura and how that included a fight between Krishna's mantra weapon and Lord Shiva's mantra weapon. And then we had this king, Nriga, who was turned into a lizard because of unsuccessfully trying to win at the karmic system. Any reflections before we jump into chapter 64, 65?
I loved when you
I
started.
got one.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mary.
And I'm not know if I'm pronouncing it right, but are the Brahmins or Brahmins always considered right no matter what? Like, do they rank above everybody else?
Yeah, in a functional spiritual culture, the most elevated position is a Brahmin, somebody who dedicates himself to spiritual truth and lives very simply. Their life is therefore just like worshiping the Lord, teaching others how to worship, studying scripture, teaching about scripture, and they can also receive charity and give charity, and they live very simply. And so somebody who's living in that way and is qualified for that is considered to be the leaders of society. And the administrative heads, like king or a democratically elected leader, somebody who's actually administering and organizing society, would themselves take guidance from such a wise person. Such a thing doesn't really exist in our society now, right? Now our society is basically run by economic powers. You know, even our administrative heads are their decisions are based on economic decisions. So the system as it is quite topsy-turvy, but it's meant to be a wisdom culture. And the Brahmins are dedicated to wisdom. And they can, because they live so simply, they can be neither bought nor sold. You can't actually bribe them because they're so simple and so renounced. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was still sort of caught up in the fact that they kept on fighting over that one cow that they wouldn't have said, but that's part, as you said, part of the Leela that, they were, and I think that that lesson is, for me, and I had written it in a lesson I learned a long time ago, and I wrote it in there that, you do good things without do it as if no one's looking. Like you don't do things so that you can get some bonus points or you'll get some reward from it. That was the king's problem. He did a lot of great stuff, but he kept on his ego kept on getting boosted by everything he did, and it was sort of feeding him, and that became a lizard. So
Yeah,
it's
good takeaway. Because the thing is, if you do it on your own account, you're trying to collect the credits, it's on your account, then you got to deal with all the faults in it. It's like, how can you perfectly satisfy everybody?
Yeah.
Like, on one level, it's like, yeah, the pastam has to go on, so there has to be some disagreement between the Brahmins. But it's like on another level, that's the world. You can't actually satisfy everybody. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. You can't actually, on your own account, be the hero all the time. So don't do things on your account. Do things on Krishna's account. Do it
Right.
for him. Make it as an offering to him. And that way, there is no, because Krishna, he's not going to be like, well, you know what? You didn't read the second addendum to page 34 of the footnotes of the laws of humanity that I gave you. So therefore, I'm going to throw you into this kind of hell. It's like, no, Krishna's not a lawyer. If you want to try to be like the owner and controller, then you got to work with the laws of karma, and then you're subjected to those things. If you're actually like, I'm just here to serve, then you're completely free, and there is no, even if there's a mistake, it's fine. There's no such consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eileen's been waiting, and then we'll go to Shakti.
I love how you opened the class last time with the talk about Mimuna Devi and talking about complacency and entitlement is the biggest enemy of bhakti. And that theme really, like, it was so cool how you connected that, and both of the chapters had elements of that. And I loved the visual of, like, when you mentioned when Krishna cut off the arms of Banasura, like that was kind of cutting his false prestige.
Yeah.
And kind of stripping him down from that. And like, so what a cool visual image that Krishna gives us in this Leela with that. And then as we move on to the next chapter with our Lizard King, I loved when you talked about like counting the currency of karma. Like you mentioned that phrase, and I thought that was super cool. And like, again, it's just like, okay, how are we offering? Are we doing it selflessly? Are we doing it with motive? And to also really pay attention to when we do charity. Like, I know even, in talking, and this is maybe a little bit of a question too, it's like, we may not want to give money to a certain charity because they may promote killing of animals, but like we're trying to help people, but it also has these other effects, and to be really thoughtful in where we give charity and how we do our service to make sure that, we're not supporting things that are counter to our practices.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
Building off of it, just in case it's a different point, kind of just really short of, we were speaking about how the whole point is to become purified by giving, right? Versus like boosting our pride
Yeah.
and our ego, and that it's all leading to giving our entire selves to God. And our training for that is our practice, right? And in being in association and offering seva. Yeah, and I was thinking that as both Eileen just shared and so did Nancy. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. There was a question in chat, and then Shakti. Aaron says, is there a connection between Kali Yuga and the loss of wisdom culture? Definitely. Yeah, that's all over scripture. It talks about the intact structure where culture is guided by the most renounced, simplest, spiritually enriched people. That's no longer the case. There are a lot of posers, a lot of people who pose as spiritually advanced. And if you want more on that, you can read through the Bhagavatam, because at the end of the Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto, there's a description of what this age will look like. Although it was written 5,000 years ago, it talks about how people will they'll be judged on their personal beauty, their ability to actually maintain like an attractive hairstyle. It says specifically will be like considered like a status symbol. They'll consider it appropriate to leave their house without even taking a shower. Just like basic things, and more about like the wisdom culture and like what posing looks like in fake wisdom culture. That's also described there. It's kind of like, yeah, yes, unfortunately. But it's also the age where Lord Chaitanya's movement appears, the Sankirtan movement. Okay, Shakti.
So I was gonna similarly to what Eileen was saying, and then Kishori had talked about, is doing things, is doing like the whole idea of offering the service and really like we're not, and one of the things I wanted to sort of just not tell on myself, but tell on myself, that, I thought, oh, I'm so excited, I'm doing service. And so I would like share it with people. And then I thought, why am I sharing that? And I sort of had to like sit with that. I had to question my own motives. And some of the time it was just because I think I was always excited, but I felt like it's taking for me, it was taking the idea of doing an offering out of the whole equation. And so that was like last year, but I started changing a lot of like the ways that the services I was doing, um, and the ways that I look around service, and do around service and talk to my Guru Dev around service, because I find that when I am doing service and I don't share it with people, it there's a different energy completely just surrounding me, in me. And then I can share that same energy with other people without sharing why I have that energy.
Yeah.
Sense.
Yeah, well, as Harry Truman put it, it's amazing how much you can get done if you don't care who gets the credit. Yeah. A lot of time is spent like jockeying. I mean, like explicitly just jockeying, like really trying, but also just like on the subtle level, like you're pointing out, there may be like an internal way in which is like, I want to, I want this to be about something other than the fact that Krishna's being served. It could be about ego. It may be there. So thanks for that.
And one other thing is also sometimes when people will say like, "Oh yeah, I've been learning all the shlokas in chapter 15." It's like, yay! Like I don't know why. It's like some people will say that, and it's like I think it's like learning it is great, and I want to do those things too. But I think sometimes that can there's this sort of teeter-totter, and I think that's something ever since like last year something kind of blew up on me, I'm glad it did. Like it was Kristen's arrangement because it allowed me to change, you
Yeah. Well, as always, only you can know your intention. So the thing is not to look out for anyone else's intention, be like, well, they're bragging, because we don't even know. They may not be. But just for ourselves, that's what we have our control over. Is like, well, am I actually getting into that space of, ego or not? You know, you can just be excited for service. That's a legitimate thing. We should be excited for service. It's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Could I make a request that
Yes.
before we begin, if you could just speak briefly about Kartik?
Sure. So this is the first day of Kartik. As many or most of you know, some of you know, Kartik is a month that comes once every year. It's beginning and ending. It varies because it's on the lunar calendar. So it starts on the day after the full moon, and or sometimes depending on the astronomy, maybe the full moon itself, but it runs for one lunar month, so 4 weeks, and it's a special month. Just like every day you have a special time that gives you extra benefit for spiritual practices. That's your Brahma Muhurta, the like before dawn hours. And every 2 weeks you have this Ekadashi, this 11th day of the waxing and waning fortnight. There's extra benefit. And there's also a special seasonal discount, 99% off sale, all bhakti results. So Kartik is a time for just taking up any extra service you want to, and you don't have to tell anybody about it. It could be very private. It usually is, because it's a thing of like if you share it to show it off, it kind of like defeats the purpose, as we were talking about just now. But many people will take up like maybe they'll chant more, maybe they'll read more. Really classic offering in Kartik is just offering a little lamp or a ghee wick, which we're going to do after this reading, to our deities. But you can offer to any picture of Krishna. There's a beautiful song called the Damodar Ashtakam, which we'll share in the chat. We're going to sing it too. It's to child Krishna form of Krishna is Damodar, the thief of the butter who's bound around the belly with a rope. And it's beautiful remembrance of his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. And it's those are two classic services that are really kind of everyone does. I would say a lot of people do during Kartik, like millions and millions of people around the world will be doing. But you can also just, well, you know what? I'm gonna like let go of this bad habit, or have less of it, or more of this sangha, or more reading. Or those kinds of things are really beneficial, and you get more spiritual benefit for all of them. It's a very dear month for Srimati Radharani. It's a month for special benefit for devotions there. So that's a bit about Kartik. And on that note, we're going to dive into the Krishna book. Okay. Krishna 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 Hey Krishna 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 Hey Krishna 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 Rakshamam Krishna 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 Pahimam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam. Krishna Baki Jai, chapter 65, Lord Balaram visits Vrindavan. Ooh, exciting. Lord Balaram became very anxious to see his father and mother in Vrindavan. Therefore, with great enthusiasm, he started on a chariot for Vrindavan. The inhabitants had been anxious to see Krishna and Balaram for a long time. When Lord Balaram returned, all the cowherd boys and the gopis had grown up, but still on his arrival, they all embraced him, and Balaram embraced them in reciprocation. After this, he came before Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda and offered his respectful obeisances. In response, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj offered their blessings unto him. They addressed him as Jagadishvara, or the Lord of the universe who maintains everyone. The reason for this was that Krishna and Balaram maintain all living entities, and yet Nanda and Yashoda were put into such difficulties on account of their absence. Feeling like this, they embraced Balaram and, seating him on their laps, began their perpetual crying, wetting Balaram with their tears. Lord Balaram then offered his respectful obeisances to the elderly cowherd men and accepted the obeisances of the younger cowherd men. Thus, according to their different ages and relationships, Lord Balaram exchanged feelings of friendship with them. He shook hands with those who were his equals in age and friendship, and with loud laughing embraced each one of them. After being received by the cowherd men and boys, the gopis, and King Nandi and Yashoda, Lord Balaram sat down, feeling satisfied, and they all surrounded him. First, Balaram inquired from them about their welfare, and then, since they had not seen him for such a long time, they began to ask him different questions. The inhabitants of Vrindavan had sacrificed everything for Krishna, simply being captivated by the lotus eyes of the Lord. Because of their great desire to love Krishna, they never desired anything like elevation to the heavenly planets or merging into the effulgence of Brahman to become one with the absolute truth. They were not even interested in enjoying a life of opulence, but were satisfied in living a simple life in the village as cowherds. They were always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and did not desire any personal benefits, and they were all so much in love with him that, in his absence, their voices faltered when they began to inquire from Balaram. First Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai inquired, "My dear Balaram, are our friends like Vasudeva and others and their family doing well? Now you and Krishna are grown-up, married men with children. In the happiness of family life, do you sometimes remember your poor father and mother? Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, it is very good news that the most sinful King Kamsa has been killed by you, and our friends like Vasudeva and the others who had been harassed have now been relieved. It is also very good news that you and Krishna defeated Jarasandha and Kalayavana, who is now dead, and that you are now living in a fortified residence in Dvarka." When the gopis arrived, Lord Balaram glanced over them with loving eyes. Being overjoyed, the gopis, who had so long been mortified on account of Krishna's and Balaram's absence, began to ask about the welfare of the two brothers. They specifically asked Balaram whether Krishna was enjoying his life, surrounded by the enlightened women of Dvarka Puri. Does he sometimes remember his father Nanda and his mother Yashoda and the other friends with whom he so intimately behaved while in Vrindavan? Does Krishna have any plans to come here to see his mother, Yashoda? Does he remember us gopis who are now pitiably bereft of his company? Krishna may have forgotten us in the midst of the cultured women of Dvarka, but as far as we're concerned, we still remember him by collecting flowers and sewing them into garlands. When he does not come, however, we simply pass our times by crying. If only he would come here and accept these garlands we've made. Dear Lord Balaram, you know that we would give up anything, everything for Krishna's friendship. Even in great distress, one cannot give up the connection of family members, but although it might be impossible for others, we give up our fathers, mothers, sisters, and relatives. But then Krishna, without caring a pinch for our renunciation, all of a sudden renounced us and went away. He broke off our intimate relationship without serious consideration and left for a foreign country. But he was so clever and cunning that he manufactured very nice words. He said, "My dear gopis, please do not worry. The service you have rendered me is impossible for me to repay." After all, we are women, so how could we disbelieve him? Now we can understand that his sweet words were simply for cheating us. Protesting Krishna's absence from Vrindavan, another gopi said, "My dear Balaramji, we are of course village girls, so Krishna could cheat us in that way, but what about the women of Dwarka? Don't think they are as foolish as we are. We village women might have been misled by Krishna, but the women in Dwarka are very clever and intelligent. Therefore, I would be surprised if such city women would be misled by Krishna and could believe his words." Then another gopi began to speak. "My dear friend," she said, "Krishna is very clever in using words. No one can compete with him in that art. He can manufacture such colorful words and talk so sweetly that the heart of any woman would be misled. Besides that, he has perfected the art of smiling very attractively. And by seeing his smile, women become mad after him and give themselves to him without hesitation." Another gopi, hearing this, said, "My dear friends, what is the use of talking about Krishna? If you are at all interested in passing time by talking, let us talk on some subject other than him. If cruel Krishna can pass his time without us, why can't we pass our time without Krishna? Of course, Krishna is passing his days without us very happily, but we cannot pass our days happily without him." When the gopis were talking in this way, their feelings for Krishna became more and more intense, and they were experiencing Krishna's smiling, Krishna's words of love, Krishna's attractive features, Krishna's characteristics, and Krishna's embraces. By the force of their ecstatic feelings, it appeared to them that Krishna was personally present and dancing before them. Because of their sweet remembrance of Krishna, they could not check their tears, and they began to cry without consideration. Lord Balaram, of course, could understand the ecstatic feelings of the gopis, and therefore he wanted to pacify them. He was expert in presenting an appeal, and thus, treating the gopis very respectfully, he began to narrate the stories of Krishna so tactfully that the gopis became satisfied. To keep the gopis satisfied, Lord Balaram stayed there continuously for 2 months, namely the months of Chaitra, March, April, and Vaishakha, April, May. For those 2 months, he kept himself among the gopis, and he passed every night with them in the forest of Vrindavan to satisfy their desire for conjugal love. Thus, Balaram also enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis during those 2 months. Since the season was springtime, the breeze on the bank of the Yamuna was blowing very mildly, carrying the aromas of different flowers, especially the flower known as kaumudi. Moonlight filled the sky and spread everywhere, and thus the banks of the Yamuna appeared very bright and pleasing, and Lord Balaram enjoyed the company of the gopis there. The demigod known as Varuna sent his daughter Varuni in the form of liquid honey, oozing from the hollows of the trees. Because of this honey, the whole forest became aromatic, and the sweet aroma of the liquid honey, Varuni, captivated Balaramji. Balaramji and all the gopis became very much attracted by the taste of the Varuni, and all of them drank it together. While drinking this natural beverage, all the gopis chanted the glories of Lord Balaram, and Lord Balaram felt very happy, as if he had become intoxicated by drinking that Varuni beverage. His eyes rolled in a pleasing attitude. He was decorated with long garlands of forest flowers, and the whole situation appeared to be a great function of happiness, because of this transcendental bliss. Lord Balaram smiled beautifully, and the drops of perspiration decorating his face appeared like soothing mountain morning dew. While Balaram was in that happy mood, he desired to enjoy the company of the gopis in the water of the Yamuna. Therefore he called the Yamuna to come nearby. But the Yamuna neglected the order of Balaramji, considering him intoxicated. Lord Balaram became very much displeased at the Yamuna's neglecting his order. He immediately wanted to scratch the land near the river with his plowshare. Lord Balaram has 2 weapons, a plow and a club, from which he takes service when they are required. This time he wanted to bring the Yamuna by force, and he took the help of his plow. He wanted to punish the Yamuna because she did not come in obedience to his order. He addressed the Yamuna, "You wretched river, you did not care for my order. Now I shall teach you a lesson. You did not come to me voluntarily. Now, with the help of my plow, I shall force you to come. I shall divide you into hundreds of scattered streams." When the Yamuna was threatened like this, she became greatly afraid of the power of Balaram, and immediately came in person, falling at his lotus feet and praying thus, "My dear Balaram, you are the most powerful personality, and you are pleasing to everyone. Unfortunately, I forgot your glorious exalted position, but now I have come to my senses, and I remember that you hold all the planetary systems on your head, merely by your partial expansion, Shesha. You are the sustainer of the whole universe. My dear Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are full with 6 opulences. Because I forgot your omnipotence, I have mistakenly disobeyed your order, and thus I have become a great offender. But my Lord, please know that I am a soul surrendered unto you, who are very affectionate to your devotees. Therefore, please excuse my impudence and mistakes, and by your causeless mercy, may you now release me." Upon displaying this submissive attitude, the Yamuna was forgiven, and when she came nearby, Lord Balaram enjoyed the pleasure of swimming in her waters, along with the gopis, in the same way that an elephant enjoys himself along with his many she-elephants. After a long time, when Lord Balaram had enjoyed to his full satisfaction, he came out of the water, and immediately a goddess of fortune offered him a nice blue garment and a valuable necklace made of gold. After bathing in the Yamuna, Lord Balaram, dressed in blue garments and decorated with golden ornaments, looked very attractive to everyone. Lord Balaram's complexion is white, and when he was properly dressed, he looked exactly like the white elephant of King Indra in the heavenly planets. The river Yamuna still has many small branches, due to being scratched by the plowshare of Lord Balaram. And all these branches of the river still glorify the omnipotence of Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram and the gopis enjoyed transcendental pastimes together every night for 2 months, and time passed so quickly that all those nights appeared to be only one night. In the presence of Lord Balaram, all the gopis and other inhabitants of Vrindavan became as cheerful as they had been before in the presence of both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. Krishna book ki jai. Can I see that Krishna book? I think there's a piece of art. And we'll take any reflections that you have from this chapter.
Can you remind us who actually raised Balaram again?
Who raised him? So he was raised in Vrindavan with Krishna. So Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj raised him. But his
No.
Devaki is his mother is their mother in
Right. I thought when Balaram was delivered to Vrindavan, it was just somebody else before he was with
Rohini.
Rohini. Thank you.
Yeah, Rohini is another mother, because so the way it works, and I'm finding this art too, is that Krishna appeared in the womb, Balaram appeared in the womb before Krishna, if you remember. Yeah, here's Balaram being prayed to by the Yamuna. Balaram here appeared in they all appeared in Devaki's womb in Mathura.
Mhm.
And then they were the first few were killed. Balaram was transported to the womb of Rohini, one of Vasudev's co-wives. And Rohini was in Vrindavan, actually. Rohini was in Vrindavan. And so Balaram took birth there, and Krishna appeared after him through Mother Yashoda.
Right.
So Rohini is like a co-mother for the two brothers.
And so when he didn't go see Rohini, he went to see Nanda and Yashoda. I just said.
Yeah, also her.
Okay.
I'm not sure actually if she at this point may have been returned. I believe she was, because Rohini to Vasudev, her husband in Mathura, because she was married to him. But at the time, she was, I think, seeking refuge from the chaos of Kamsa in Vrindavan. And so now she's back with them.
Got it.
But Nanda and Yashoda and the gopis and everyone are still there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so Rohini is one of the only people who knows what things were like in Vrindavan, because she actually was there for their childhood. Any more reflections?
I find it just so fascinating that Balaram also has like a whole Rasa Leela with the gopis.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not as like popular.
He has his own gopis.
And he has his own gopis.
He has his own girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah.
And so his Rasa Leela, they're different gopis.
They're different
They're
gopis.
completely different gopis.
Yeah.
And they feel for him the way that the other gopis feel for Krishna.
Same kind of mood of service, same kind of pastimes.
Yeah.
And they're performed in the spring, actually.
Right. Versus the
Basanta
fall.
versus the fall. They're also
Last night, right? Doesn't the
um
Rasa Leela happen on the full moon last night?
I don't know if it's that full moon or the full moon at the end of Kartik. I'll look it up. Yeah,
I think that was last
it happens on the full moon, yes.
night.
Okay, next chapter. 66, the deliverance of Paundraka and the king of Kashi. This is a very funny chapter, in my opinion. I think this is a comedy.
It's not romantic anymore. Rom-com.
The story of King Paundraka is very interesting because it proves there have always been many rascals and fools who consider themselves God. Even in the presence of Krishna, there was such a foolish person. His name was Paundraka, and he wanted to declare himself God. While Lord Balaram was absent in Vrindavan, this King Paundraka, the king of Karusha province, being foolish and puffed up, sent a messenger to Krishna. Lord Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but King Paundraka directly challenged Krishna through the messenger, who stated that Paundraka, not Krishna, was Vasudeva. In the present day, there are many foolish followers of such rascals. Similarly, in Paundraka's day, many foolish men accepted Paundraka as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because he could not estimate his own position, Paundraka falsely thought himself to be Lord Vasudeva. Thus the messenger declared to Krishna that King Paundraka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, had descended to the earth out of his causeless mercy, just to deliver all distressed persons. Surrounded by many other foolish persons, this rascal Paundraka had actually concluded that he was Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This kind of conclusion is certainly childish. When children are playing, they sometimes select a quote-unquote king amongst themselves. Ever play that I'm the king of the castle, you're the dirty rascal? And the selected child may think that he's actually the king. Similarly, many foolish persons, due to ignorance, select another fool as God. And then the rascal actually considers himself God, as if God could be created by childish play or by the votes of men. Under this false impression, thinking himself the Supreme Lord, Paundraka sent his messenger to Dwarka to challenge the position of Krishna. The messenger reached the royal assembly of Krishna in Dwarka and conveyed the message. This message contained the following statements. Quote, I am the only Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. No man can compete with me. I have descended as King Paundraka, taking compassion on the distressed conditioned souls, out of my unlimited causeless mercy. You have falsely taken the position of Vasudeva without authority, but you should not propagate this false idea. You must give up your position. O descendant of the Yadu dynasty, please give up all the symbols of Vasudeva, which you have falsely assumed. After giving up this position, come and surrender unto me. If out of your gross impudence you do not care for my words, then I challenge you to fight. I am inviting you to a battle in which the decision will be settled. When all the members of the royal assembly, including King Ugrasena, heard this message sent by Paundraka, they laughed very loudly for a considerable time. After enjoying the loud laughter of all the members of the assembly, Krishna replied to the messenger as follows. O messenger of Paundraka, you may carry my message to your master. You are a foolish rascal. I directly call you a rascal, and I refuse to follow your instructions. I shall never give up the symbols of Vasudeva, especially my disc. I shall use this disc to kill not only you, but all your followers also. I shall destroy you and your foolish associates, who merely constitute a society of cheaters and the cheated. O foolish king, you will then have to conceal your face in disgrace, and when your head is severed from your body by my disc, it will be surrounded by meat-eating birds like vultures, hawks, and eagles. At that time, instead of becoming my shelter, as you have demanded, you will be subject to the mercy of those low-born birds. At that time, your body will be thrown to the dogs, who will eat it with great pleasure.
So he's not liberating him. Or is he liberating him? I guess he
He's
is.
definitely liberating him. I mean, the body is the body. Don't forget, you're not your body. The messenger carried the words of Lord Krishna to his master, Paundraka, who patiently heard all these insults. Without waiting any longer, Lord Sri Krishna immediately started out on his chariot to punish the rascal Paundraka, the king of Karusha. Because at that time he was living with his friend the king of Kashi, Krishna surrounded the whole city of Kashi. King Paundraka was a great warrior, and as soon as he heard of Krishna's attack, he came out of the city with 2 Akshauhini divisions of soldiers. The king of Kashi also came out with 3 Akshauhini divisions. It's like a phalanx. It's like a 50,000 men or something. It's some division of a certain number of infantry, cavalry, archers, and horsemen. Like 10,000 or 20,000 or something. It's a large number. At some point, Prabhupada defined it, or he's going to define it. I think he probably defined it earlier. We can look it up. When the 2 kings came before Lord Krishna to oppose him, Krishna saw Paundraka face to face for the first time. Krishna saw that Paundraka had decorated himself with the symbols of the conch shell, disc, lotus, and club. He carried an imitation Sharanga bow, and on his chest was a mock insignia of Srivatsa. His neck was decorated with a false Kastuba jewel, and he wore a flower garland, in exact imitation of Lord Vasudeva's. He was dressed in yellow silken garments, and the flag on his chariot carried the symbol of Garuda, exactly imitating Krishna's. He had a very valuable helmet on his head, and his earrings, like swordfish, glittered brilliantly. On the whole, however, his dress and makeup were clearly imitation. Anyone could understand that he was just like someone on stage playing the part of Vasudeva in false dress. When Lord Sri Krishna saw Pandrika imitating his posture and dress, he could not check his laughter, and thus he laughed with great satisfaction. I guess, as they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. The soldiers on the side of King Pandrika began to shower their weapons upon Krishna. The weapons, including various kinds of tridents, clubs, poles, lances, swords, daggers, and arrows, came flying in waves, and Krishna counteracted them. He smashed not only the weapons, but also the soldiers and assistants of Pandrika, just as, during the dissolution of this universe, the fire of devastation burns everything to ashes. The elephants, chariots, horses, and infantry belonging to the opposite party were scattered by the weapons of Krishna. Indeed, the whole battlefield became strewn with smashed chariots and the bodies of men and animals. There were fallen horses, elephants, men, asses, and camels. Although the devastated battlefield appeared like the dancing place of Lord Shiva at the time of the dissolution of the world, the warriors on the side of Krishna were very much encouraged by seeing this, and they fought with greater strength. At this time, Lord Krishna told Pandrika, "Pandrika, you requested me to give up the symbols of Lord Vishnu, specifically my disc. Now I will give it up to you. Be careful. You falsely declare yourself Vasudeva imitating me, therefore no one is a greater fool than you." From this statement of Krishna's, it is clear that any rascal who advertises himself as God is the greatest fool in human society. Krishna continued, "Now, Pandrika, I shall force you to give up this false representation. You wanted me to surrender unto you? Now this is your opportunity. We shall now fight, and if I am defeated and you are victorious, I shall certainly surrender unto you." In this way, after chastising Pandrika very severely, Krishna smashed Pandrika's chariot to pieces by shooting an arrow. Then, with the help of his disc, he separated Pandrika's head from his body, just as Indra shaves off the peaks of mountains by striking them with his thunderbolt. Similarly, Krishna also killed the king of Kashi with his arrows. Lord Krishna specifically arranged to throw the head of the king of Kashi into the city of Kashi itself, so that his relatives and family members could see it. Krishna did this just as a hurricane carries a lotus petal here and there. Lord Krishna killed Pandrika and his friend Kashiraj on the battlefield, and then he returned to his capital city, Dwarka.
I found that.
Mm-hmm.
So a solid, how do you say
Akshauhini.
Akshauhini, a solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 109,650 infantry, and 65,000 cavalry is called an
Akshauhini.
from the that specifically is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1:848.
Thank you.
And many of those were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Many of those, all of those sets.
Yeah, it was a giant battle.
Can you imagine?
All liberated.
Yeah.
Because they were in Krishna's presence. When Lord Krishna returned to the city of Dwarka, all the Siddhas from the heavenly planets were singing his glories. As far as Pandrika was concerned, somehow or other he always thought of Lord Vasudeva by falsely dressing himself in imitation of the Lord. Therefore, Pandrika achieved Sarupya, one of the 5 kinds of liberation, which means he got the same kind of, well, it'll say, and was thus promoted to the Vaikuntha planets where the devotees have the same bodily features as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding the 4 symbols. Factually, his meditation was concentrated on the Vishnu form, but because he himself thought he was Lord Vishnu, it was offensive. But by his being killed by Krishna, that offense was mitigated. Thus he was given Sarupya liberation, and he attained the same form as the Lord. It's a spiritual body. When the head of the king of Kashi was thrown to the city gate, people gathered and were astonished to see that wonderful thing. When they found out that there were earrings on it, they could understand that it was someone's head. They conjectured as to whose head it might be. Some thought it was Krishna's head, because Krishna was the enemy of Kashiraj, and they calculated that the king of Kashi might have thrown Krishna's head into the city, so the people might take pleasure in the enemies being killed. But they finally detected that the head was not Krishna's, but that of the king of Kashi himself. When this was ascertained, the queens of the king of Kashi immediately approached and began to lament the death of their husband. "Our dear Lord," they cried, "upon your death we have become just like dead bodies." The king of Kashi had a son whose name was Sudakshina. After observing the ritualistic funeral ceremonies, he took a vow that, since Krishna was the enemy of his father, he would kill Krishna, and in this way liquidate his debt to his father. Therefore, accompanied by a learned priest qualified to help him, he began to worship Mahadev, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, who is also known as Vishwanath, is the lord of the kingdom of Kashi. The temple of Lord Vishwanath is still existing in Varanasi, and many thousands of pilgrims still gather daily in that temple. By the worship of Sudakshina, Lord Shiva was very much pleased, and he wanted to give a benediction to his devotee. Sudakshina's purpose was to kill Krishna, and therefore he prayed for a specific power by which to kill him. Lord Shiva advised that Sudakshina, assisted by the Brahmins, execute the ritualistic ceremony for killing one's enemy. This ceremony is also mentioned in some of the tantras. Lord Shiva informed Sudakshina that if such a black ritualistic ceremony were performed properly, then the evil spirit named Dakshinagni would appear and then carry out any order given to him. He would have to be employed, however, to kill someone other than a qualified Brahmana. If all these conditions were met, then Dakshinagni, accompanied by Lord Shiva's ghostly companions, would fulfill the desire of Sudakshina to kill his enemy. When Sudakshina was encouraged by Lord Shiva in that way, he was sure that he would be able to kill Krishna. With a determined vow of austerity, he began to execute the black art of chanting mantras, assisted by the priests. This is black magic, dark magic, and revenge magic, like dark voodoo. After this, out of the fire came a great demoniac force, whose hair, beard, and mustache were exactly the color of hot copper.
Like mine.
Hot copper. So it's shining red, I think. Sorry. This form was very big and fierce. As the demon arose from the fire, cinders of fire emanated from the sockets of his eyes. The giant fiery demon appeared still more fierce due to the movements of his eyebrows. He exhibited long, sharp teeth, and sticking out his long tongue, licked his upper and lower lips. He was naked, and he carried a big trident, blazing like fire. He's a devil. Yeah. They worship Lord Shiva to get a devil to do their bidding. That usually works out, right? Could go wrong.
What could go wrong?
After appearing from the fire of sacrifice, he stood wielding the trident in his hand. Instigated by Sudakshina, the demon proceeded toward the capital city Dvarka with many hundreds of ghostly companions, and it appeared that he was going to burn all outer space to ashes. The surface of the earth trembled because of his striking steps. When he entered the city of Dvarka, all the residents panicked, just like animals in a forest fire. At that time, Krishna was playing chess in the Royal Assembly Council Hall. All the residents of Dwarka approached him and addressed him. "Dear Lord of the Three Worlds, a great fiery demon is ready to burn the whole city of Dwarka. Please save us." In this way, all the inhabitants of Dwarka appealed to Lord Krishna for protection. Lord Krishna, who specifically protects his devotees, saw that the whole population of Dwarka was most perturbed by the presence of the great fiery demon. He immediately smiled and assured them, "Don't worry, I shall give you all protection." The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is all-pervading. He is within everyone's heart, and he is also without, in the form of the cosmic manifestation. He could understand that the fiery demon was the creation of Lord Shiva, and to vanquish the demon, he took his Sudarshana Chakra and ordered him to take the necessary steps. The Sudarshana Chakra appeared with the effulgence of millions of suns, his heat being as powerful as the fire created at the end of the cosmic manifestation. By his effulgence, the Sudarshan Chakra illuminated the entire universe, on the surface of the earth as well as in outer space. Then the Sudarshan Chakra began to freeze the fiery demon created by Lord Shiva. In this way, the fiery demon was checked by the Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Krishna, and being defeated in his attempt to devastate the city of Dwarka, he turned back. Having failed to set fire to Dwarka, the fiery demon went back to Varanasi, the kingdom of Kashiraj. As a result of his return, all the priests who had helped instruct the black art of mantras, along with their employer, Sudakshina, were burned to ashes by the glaring effulgence of the fiery demon. According to the methods of black art mantras instructed in the tantras, if the mantra fails to kill the enemy, then, because it must kill someone, it kills the original creator. Sudakshina was the originator, and the priests assisted him. Therefore, all of them were burned to ashes. That is the way of the demons. The demons create something to kill God, but by the same weapon, the demons themselves are killed.
They didn't read the fine print.
Yeah, that's not a battle you're going to win.
Mm-mm.
Following just behind the fiery demon, the Sudarshan Chakra also entered Varanasi.
Mm.
This city had been very opulent and great for a very long time. Even now, the city of Varanasi is opulent and famous. This Varanasi is also known as Kashi. That's why you see both names. Even now, the city of Varanasi is opulent and famous, and it is one of the important cities of India. There were then many big palaces, assembly houses, marketplaces, and gates with large and very important monuments by the palaces and gates. Lecturing platforms could be found at each and every crossroads. There were buildings that housed the treasury, elephants, horses, chariots, and grain, and places for distribution of food. The city of Varanasi had been filled with all these material opulences for a very long time. But because the king of Kashi and his son Sudakshina were against Lord Krishna, the Vishnu Chakra Sudarshana, the disc weapon of Lord Krishna, devastated the whole city by burning all these important places. This excursion was more ravaging than modern bombing. The Sudarshan Chakra, having thus finished his duty, came back to his lord Sri Krishna at Dwarka. This narration of the devastation of Varanasi by Krishna's disc weapon, the Sudarshana Chakra, is transcendental and auspicious. Anyone who narrates or hears this story with faith and attention will be released from all reaction to sinful activities. This is the assurance of Shukadeva Goswami, who narrated this story to Parikshit Maharaj. Jai, Krishna Bhakti Jai.
So modern day Varanasi, right, is like known for its cremations. and
Yeah,
that sort of
Varanasi
thing.
in the modern day is it's always been a city that's very dear to Lord Shiva.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting that this past time, this Leela happened here with all the fire, and then now it's the famous cremation.
yeah, it's also called Benares or Kashi. That's a place where people they like to go there to die because it's in scripture that if you leave your body in Varanasi, you're under the protection of Lord Shiva. So there's a lot of cremation grounds there, and people will retire or go for like if they have a chronic terminal illness, they'll just run out the clock there. It's a sacred place for Lord Shiva, particularly. But yeah, ironically, Krishna set fire to much of it.
It's interesting, like I love drawing parallels to other religions and beliefs. And immediately when I said the devil, it was like, to me, it reminded me of like Lucifer, right? Out of pride. He was like a really beautiful, very high-ranking angel, like and he wanted to be God. And so God, basically, which I don't believe in hell, necessarily believe in hellish planets, but like he cast him down. It was because of his pride and because of him wanting to be God and ascend to the throne, that God then ended up defeating him and like made him into this demon, just like this demon appeared out of the fire and then he was cast off out of.
Yeah, two
of
separate pastimes. He first liberated Pundraka, but yeah, there's also this.
So it's like a theme. It seems like there's like a couple of themes where it's like these people or high-ranking people or even demigods at times have been like, I want to be God. And, we see what happened. And it's very present in lots of different religions. And I just love, again, tying it back to, they took it from us in a beautiful way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the phenomenon can literally be there where someone actually says that they're God and they should be worshipped as God. You find like in various cults, there are such nonsensical people with these nonsensical ideas. And it's also potentially there in a more like a subtle form where someone won't come out and say that, but they believe that about themselves and they function as if they're the center of the universe. It's the nature of the false ego is the idea of my identity, right? Because we have an ego, we have an actual identity, but our actual identity is that we're part and parcel of the source. That's all we are. That's all we've ever been. We're like a drop of the ocean. We can't be more than that. It's like destined to failure. Any other conception of ourselves besides that is false ego. And so this idea of like growing too big for your britches, this idea of like thinking that you're something you're not, it's actually not that uncommon because this is the material world. The material world is full of people who have material ideas. So their false ego is generally that I'm the center of the universe. They may be more pious about it. They may be like functioning according to the rules of the world more nicely, but there's this basic idea of like, well, things here are meant for me. I'm the controller and enjoyer. I'm the center. I want to see the world revolve around me. That's kind of always there. That's the material misunderstanding. Paundrika is just that, like, so to such a degree that it becomes absurd. Like Krishna looked at him. He's sitting there like with papier-mâché, like arms and a fake Sudarshan chakra, and he's like, "Look at me, I'm God, everybody," and they just laughed because it's ludicrous. It's just a ludicrous scene. But
The comedy part.
yeah, I'm God, everybody, I'm God. Krishna. At least he made him laugh.
Yeah.
Krishna had a good laugh. Any more reflections? Okay. Chapter 67. We're flying. The deliverance of Dvivida Gorilla. While Shukadeva Goswami continued to speak on the transcendental pastimes and characteristics of Lord Krishna, King Parikshit, upon hearing him, became more and more enthusiastic and wanted to hear further. Shukadeva Goswami next narrated the story of Dvivida, the gorilla, who was killed by Lord Balaram. This gorilla was a great friend of Bhaumasura, or Narakasura, who was killed by Krishna in connection with his kidnapping 16,000 princesses all over the world. Remember that? He kidnapped these princesses. He had them in a fortress. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he married all of them, right?
Yeah. He basically, I don't know if there's any religious ceremony. He basically claimed them as his own, like, prize. But Krishna married all of them,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Dvivida was the minister of King Sugriva. His brother, Mainda, was also a very powerful gorilla king. When Dvivida Gorilla heard the story of his friend Bhaumasura being killed by Lord Krishna, he planned to create mischief throughout the country in order to avenge the death of Bhaumasura. His first business was to set fires in villages, towns, and industrial and mining places, as well as in the residential quarters of the mercantile men who were busy dairy farming and protecting cows. Sometimes he would uproot a big mountain and tear it to pieces. In this way, he created great disturbances all over the country, especially in the province of Katvar. The city of Dwarka was situated in this Katvar province, and because Lord Krishna used to live in this city, Dvivida specifically made it his target of disturbance. Dvivida was as powerful as 10,000 elephants. Sometimes he would go to the seashore, and with his powerful hands, he would create so much disturbance in the sea that he would flood the neighboring cities and villages. Often he would go to the hermitages of great saintly persons and sages and cause a great disturbance by smashing their beautiful gardens and orchards. Not only did he create disturbances in that way, but sometimes he would pass urine and stool on their sacred sacrificial arenas. He would thus pollute the whole atmosphere. He also kidnapped both men and women, taking them away from their residential places to the caves of the mountains. After putting them within the caves, he would close the entrances with large chunks of stone, like the bringi insect, which arrests and carries away many flies and other insects, and puts them within the holes of the trees where it lives. Thus, Dvivida regularly defied the law and order of the country. Not only that, but he would sometimes pollute the female members of many aristocratic families by forcibly raping them. Oh my. While creating such great disturbances all over the country, sometimes he heard very sweet musical sounds from Raivataka mountain, and so he entered that mountainous region. There he saw Lord Balaram in the midst of many beautiful young girls, enjoying their company while singing and dancing. Dvivida became captivated by the beauty of Lord Balaram's body, whose every feature was very beautiful, decorated as he was with a garland of lotus flowers. Similarly, all the young girls present, dressed and garlanded with flowers, exhibited much beauty. Lord Balaram seemed fully intoxicated from drinking the Varuni beverage, and his eyes appeared to be rolling in a drunken state. Lord Balaram appeared just like the king of the elephants in the midst of many she-elephants.
She-elephants.
This gorilla by the name Dvivida would climb up into the trees and jump from one branch to another. Sometimes he would jerk the branches, creating a particular type of sound, kila, so that Lord Balaram was greatly distracted from the pleasing atmosphere. Sometimes Dvivida would come before the women and exhibit different types of caricatures. By nature, young women are apt to enjoy everything with laughter and joking. And when the gorilla came before them, they did not take him seriously, but simply laughed at him. However, the gorilla was so rude that even in the presence of Balaram, he began to show the lower part of his body to the women, and sometimes he would come forward to show his teeth, while moving his eyebrows. He disrespected the women, even in the presence of Lord Balaram. Balaram's name suggests not only that he's very powerful, but that he takes pleasure in exhibiting extraordinary strength. So he took a stone and threw it at Dvivida. The gorilla, however, artfully avoided being struck by the stone. In order to insult Balaram, the gorilla took away the earthen pot in which the Varuni was kept. Dvivida, being thus intoxicated with his limited strength, began to tear off all the valuable clothes worn by Balaram and the accompanying young girls. He was so puffed up that he thought Balaram could not do anything to chastise him, and he continued to offend Balaramji and his companions. When Lord Balaram saw the disturbances created by the gorilla, and heard that he had already performed many mischievous activities all over the country, he became very angry and decided to kill him. Immediately he took his club in his hand. The gorilla could understand that now Balaram was going to attack him. To counteract Balaram, he immediately uprooted a big oak tree, and with great force he came and struck Lord Balaram's head. Lord Balaram, however, immediately caught hold of the big tree and remained undisturbed, just like a great mountain. To retaliate, he took his club named Sunanda and hit the gorilla with it, severely injuring his head. Currents of blood flowed from the gorilla's head with great force, but the stream of blood simply enhanced his beauty like a stream of liquid manganese coming out of a great mountain. The striking of Balaram's club did not even slightly disturb him. On the contrary, he immediately uprooted another big oak tree and after clipping off all its leaves, again struck Balaram's head with it. But Balaram, with the help of his club, tore the tree to pieces. Since the gorilla was very angry, he took another tree in his hands and struck Lord Balaram's body. Again, Lord Balaram tore the tree to pieces and the fighting continued. Each time the gorilla would bring out a big tree to strike Balaram, Lord Balaram would tear the tree to pieces by the striking of his club, and the gorilla Dvivida would clutch another tree from another direction and again attack Balaram in the same way. As a result of this continuous fighting, the forest became treeless.
Oh.
When no more trees were available, Dvivida took help from the hills and threw large pieces of stone, like rainfall, upon the body of Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram, in a great sporting mood, began to smash those big pieces of stone into mere pebbles. It's like batting practice. Cricket. The gorilla, being bereft of all trees and stone slabs, now stood before Balaram and waved his strong fists. Then, with great force, he began to beat Lord Balaram's chest with his fists. This time, Lord Balaram became most angry. Since the gorilla was striking him with his hands, Lord Balaram would not strike him back with his own weapons, the club or the plow. Simply with his fists, he struck the collarbone of the gorilla. This blow proved fatal to Dvivida, who immediately vomited blood and fell unconscious upon the ground. When the gorilla fell, all the hills and forests appeared to totter. After this horrible incident, all the Siddhas, great sages and saintly persons from the upper planetary system, showered flowers on the person of Lord Balaram and vibrated sounds glorifying his supremacy. All of them chanted, "All glory to Lord Balaram! Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. By killing this great demon, Dvivida, you have initiated an auspicious era for the world." All such jubilant sounds of victory were heard from outer space. After killing the great demon Dvivida and being worshipped by showers of flowers and glorious sounds of victory, Balaram returned to his capital city, Dvarka. Krishna Book Ki Jai. Balaram's featuring in some of these stories today. Okay, any reflections?
So since they're back in Vrindavan and there was another demon killed, is there an arta that this is linked to? Like, is there?
Ooh, good question. Let's look it up. Any other questions, reflections while we look it up?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Where did this gorilla come from?
Where did he come from?
Yeah, I mean, where,
Yeah, it's mentioned. Let's see.
he was a great friend of Bamusura, who was killed by Krishna in connection with the kidnapping of 16,000 princesses.
Yeah. The minister of King Sugriva. Let me see if I can find more on him.
Well, I guess it says he wanted
Okay.
to avenge the death of
So,
Valmasara.
as mentioned, he was the minister of King Sugriva. Sugriva appears in the Ramayana. Sugriva is part of the monkey army that Hanuman belongs to. They were loyal followers of Lord Rama. Um, after bad association with Narakasura, remember Narakasura himself is one of Krishna's sons, but became a demon by bad association. By associating with Narakasura, Duvida became a bully and a jerk and a troublemaker. So basically, he came from a good place. He's from the family of, he's from the race and the society of Hanuman, but he
Oh.
became a bad apple until he's killed by Balaram. So he's quite old, because that's in the Ramayana is a very old scripture. He's even thousands and thousands of years old by the time Krishna's appeared. Since he's been living from that time when the Ramayana took place, so he's an ancient remnant of that monkey race that somehow turned evil. That's all I got. What do we find about Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
From Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
The demons in Vrindavan.
Well, the gorilla's not listed on the document or the resources that I found before.
Yeah.
Did this happen in
but
Vrindavan or did this happen in Dwarka?
Well, Balaram.
It happened. He's with the gopis. It's mentioned. It's not clear because it mentions that.
But he was killed by Balaram, not Krishna. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that is a distinction. But I'm not seeing an arta associated with him.
Yeah, neither do I. So it appears there's not any specific thing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur associates with this demon.
Thanks for checking.
Yep. Okay, any other reflections? Okay. This is a longer chapter, so we're not going to finish it, I don't think, but we're going to start it. And then we're going to get into the Damodar Ashtakam and Kirtan.
One comment, it seems
Yeah.
that with Tanya's comment in the chat, in her reflections around like finding the last few chapters, not in an offensive way, but like a little more dry or not as like, I don't know what the exact words she was using. She didn't say boring, but maybe I'll say that word. But these feel like they've shifted into more of they're more Leela-esque and entertaining. Yeah, or like Leela-esque, and there's something. Maybe it's also connected just being shorter, and like I don't know, but I feel like energetically something shifted in just how I'm feeling and reading and hearing these chapters versus the previous.
Yeah, it's different every time.
Yeah.
It's different every time. You keep listening because, I'm hearing these for like I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
It's different every time. They're all these pastimes are transcendental.
Right.
They all leave their mark on the heart.
So then is it also connected to however I am or whoever each person is, what their internal experiences is when they're hearing it? Because it will land differently every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's such a nice experience to read through the Krishna book and then start it again.
Because it's living.
It really is. It's not like a single pointed, objective reality that you could just keep experiencing the same way over and over again. It's a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you read something more than once, you experience that. Like, has anybody here read the Bhagavad Gita more than once or like looked at the same verses more than once? It changes. It grows, So yeah. Who knows what you'll feel next time? It's like when you're in Vrindavan, you're going around Govardhan Hill, you're doing a parikrama. Some parts of the walk are rough. Some parts are soft, sweet sand. But it's always it's the walk. It's the parikrama of Govardhan Hill. It doesn't matter whether it's sweet or it's tough. It's like it's part of the experience. And it leaves its mark spiritually, equally either way. So we read, you know, sometimes it's like a list of names, that one chapter,
Right.
you know, and they're all transcendental, but maybe the mind wanders. And here's like, you know, Krishna like killing Pondrika and Balaram having some wild pastimes with a gorilla monster, and that's like more fun, you know. But either way.
Yeah, if I can comment, yeah, my reflection was that these last few chapters just I didn't connect with them quite as much. And it's not so much that I was bored, it was more like there's not as much character development that where there was in like the other Leelas. Like, here's a new chapter, here's a new demon, we have no or new person or new group that's going to fight with Krishna. They're going to fight and fight and fight, and then the next chapter they're going to do some more fighting, and that like different people are going to be doing this fighting over time. And I guess it might be also where I am personally right now. You know, it was just like some of it was kind of entertaining, and I found myself distracted because when they were throwing different weapons at each other, I don't know why I was thinking of my kids and their addiction to Pokemon, like throwing different weapons, like, you know, yawning weapon, go. Like it was just, I don't know. I was just kind of in a weird place listening to all this because it wasn't drawing me in the same way that other chapters have drawn me in. And I think that's partially because of, you know, like I said, like character development and the romance of different stories hits me different than, you know,
Yeah.
these types of you know, physical fighting stories. Like they're not my, like if I were to choose entertainment on the television, like, you know, conventional
It would be an
television,
action movie, yeah.
it wouldn't be what I would choose to watch. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the cool thing is like there's different genres.
Right.
And yeah, sometimes like, you know, anyway, there's different purposes served by different chapters. Like
Or,
there's like a lesson, or there's a humorous element or a romantic element, or like Krishna showing a different side of himself, or Balaram's like kind of like having a party with the gopis, and it's anyway, there's just different sides to things. So sometimes you may find your taste is accommodated more or less, but spiritually they're all equal.
yeah,
But the
totally
Krishna
makes
book
sense.
is very, yeah, it's very diverse. It's a real sampler. A lot of, as has been mentioned before, a lot of different stuff happens in each chapter. Like it's a departure. It's really like a spiritual comic book. Okay, chapter 68, the marriage of Samba. Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, had a marriageable daughter by the name of Lakshmana. She was a very highly qualified girl of the Kuru dynasty, and many princes wanted to marry her. In such cases, the Swayamvara ceremony is held, so the girl may select her husband according to her own choice. In Lakshmana's Swayamvara assembly, when the girl was to select her husband, Samba appeared. He was the son of Krishna's by Jambavati, one of Lord Krishna's chief wives. This son, Samba, was so named because he was a pet child and always lived close to his mother. The name Samba indicates a son who is very much his mother's pet. Amba means mother and Sam means with. So this special name was given to him because he always remained with his mother. He was also known as Jambavati Sutta for the same reason. As previously explained, all the sons of Krishna were as qualified as their great father. Samba wanted Duryodhana's daughter Lakshmana, though she was not inclined to have him. Therefore, Samba kidnapped Lakshmana by force from the Swayamvara assembly. Because Samba took Lakshmana from the assembly by force, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, such as Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Vidura, and Arjuna, thought it an insult to their family tradition that the boy, Samba, could possibly have kidnapped their daughter. All of them knew that Lakshmana was not at all inclined to select him as her husband, and that she was not given the chance to select her own husband. Instead, she was forcibly taken away by this boy. Therefore, they decided that he must be punished. They unanimously declared that he was most impudent and had degraded the Kurus' family tradition. Therefore, all of them, under the counsel of the elder members of the Kuru dynasty, decided to arrest the boy but not kill him. They concluded that the girl could not be married to any other boy than Samba, since she had already been touched by him. According to the Vedic system, once being touched by some boy, a girl cannot be married or given to any other boy, nor would anyone agree to marry a girl who had already been thus associated with another boy. This is a very traditional culture.
Why ends up departing from Sita. in the end.
No, not exactly. That's complicated. The elder members of the family, such as Bhishma, wanted to arrest him. Thus, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, especially the great fighters, joined together just to teach him a lesson, and Karna was made the commander-in-chief for this small battle. While making the plan to arrest Samba, the Kurus counseled amongst themselves that, upon his arrest, the members of the Yadu dynasty would be very angry with them. Thus, there was every possibility of the Yadus accepting the challenge and fighting with them. But they also thought, if they came here to fight with us, what could they do? The members of the Yadu dynasty cannot equal the members of the Kuru dynasty because the kings of the Kuru dynasty are the emperors, whereas the kings of the Yadu dynasty are able to enjoy their land only because we have granted it to them. The Kurus thought, if they come here to challenge us because their son was arrested, we shall accept the fight and teach them a lesson, so that automatically they'll be subdued under pressure, as the senses are subdued by the mystic yoga process of pranayama. In the mechanical system of mystic yoga, the airs within the body are controlled, and the senses are subdued and checked from being engaged in anything other than meditation upon Lord Vishnu. After consultation, and after receiving permission from the elder members of the Kuru dynasty, such as Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, 5 great warriors, Karna, Shala, Puri, Yajnaketu, and Duryodhana, the father of the girl, who were all Maharathis, and who were guided by the great fighter Bhishma Deva, attempted to arrest the boy Samba. There are different grades of fighters, including Maharathi, Ekarathi, and Rathi, classified according to their fighting ability. These Maharathis could fight alone with many thousands of men. All of them combined together to arrest Samba. Samba was also a Maharathi, but he was alone and had to fight with the 6 other Maharathis. Still, he was not deterred when he saw all the great fighters of the Kuru dynasty coming up behind him to arrest him. Alone, he turned toward them and took his nice bow, posing exactly as a lion stands adamant in the face of other animals. Karna, leading the party, challenged Samba, "Why are you fleeing? Just stand and we shall teach you a lesson." When challenged by another Kshatriya to stand and fight, a Kshatriya cannot run away, he must fight. Therefore Samba accepted the challenge and stood alone before them. But as soon as he did so, he was overpowered by showers of arrows shot by all the great warriors. A lion is never afraid of being chased by many wolves and jackals. Similarly, Samba, the glorious son of the Yadu dynasty, endowed with inconceivable potencies as the son of Lord Krishna, became very angry at the warriors of the Kuru dynasty for improperly using arrows against him. He fought them with great talent. First of all, he struck each of the 6 charioteers with 6 separate arrows. He used another 4 arrows to kill the charioteers as horses, 4 on each chariot. Then he used 1 arrow to kill the driver and 1 arrow for Karna, as well as the other celebrated fighters. While Samba so diligently fought alone with the 6 great warriors, they all appreciated the boy's inconceivable potency. Even in the midst of the fighting, they admitted frankly that this boy Samba was wonderful. But the fighting was conducted in the Kshatriya spirit, so altogether, although it was improper, they obliged Samba to get down from his chariot, now broken to pieces. Of the 6 warriors, 4 took care to kill Samba's 4 horses, 1 struck down his chariot driver, and 1 managed to cut the string of Samba's bow, so he could no longer fight with them. In this way, with great difficulty and after a severe fight, they deprived Samba of his chariot and were able to arrest him. Thus, the warriors of the Kuru dynasty accepted their great victory and took their daughter Lakshmana away from him. Thereafter, they entered the city of Hastinapur in great triumph. The great sage Narada immediately carried the news to the Yadu dynasty that Samba had been arrested and told them the whole story. The members of the Yadu dynasty became very angry at Samba's being arrested, and improperly so by 6 warriors. Now, with the permission of the head of the Yadu dynasty, King Ugrasena, they prepared to attack the capital city of the Kuru dynasty. Although Lord Balaram knew very well that by slight provocation people are prepared to fight with one another in the age of Kali, he did not like the idea that the 2 great dynasties, the Kuru dynasty and the Yadu dynasty, would fight amongst themselves, even though they were influenced by Kali Yuga. Instead of fighting with them, he wisely thought, let me go there and see the situation, and let me try to see if the fight can be settled by mutual understanding. Balaram's idea was that if the Kuru dynasty could be induced to release Samba along with his wife, Lakshmana, then the fight could be avoided. He therefore immediately arranged for a nice chariot to go to Hastinapura, accompanied by learned priests and brahmanas, as well as by some of the elder members of the Yadu dynasty. He was confident that the members of the Kuru dynasty would agree to this marriage and avoid fighting with the Yadus. As Lord Balarama proceeded toward Hastinapura in his chariot, accompanied by the Brahmanas and elders, he looked like the moon, shining in the clear sky amongst the glittering stars. When Lord Balaram reached the precincts of the city of Hastinapura, he did not enter, but stationed himself in a camp outside the city in a small garden house. Then he asked Uddhava to meet with the leaders of the Kuru dynasty and inquire from them whether they wanted to fight with the Yadu dynasty or make a settlement. Uddhava went to see the leaders of the Kuru dynasty, and he met all the important members, including Bhishmadeva, Dhritarashtra, Dronacharya, Duryodhana, and Bahlika. After offering them due respects, he informed them that Lord Balaram had arrived at the garden outside the city gate. The leaders of the Kuru dynasty, especially Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, were joyful because they knew very well that Lord Balaram was a great well-wisher of their family. There were no bounds to their joy on hearing the news, and so they immediately welcomed Uddhava. To properly receive Lord Balaram, they all took in their hands auspicious paraphernalia for his reception and went to see him outside the city gate. According to their respective positions, they welcomed Lord Balaram by giving him in charity nice cows and arghya, a mixture of arti water and an assortment of items such as honey, butter, flowers, and sandalwood pulp. Because all of them knew the exalted position of Lord Balaram as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they bowed their heads before the Lord with great respect. They all exchanged words of reception by asking one another about their welfare. And when such formalities were finished, Lord Balaram, in a great voice and very patiently, submitted before them the following words for their consideration. My dear friends, this time I have come to you as a messenger with the order of the all-powerful King Ugrasena. Please therefore hear the order with attention and great care. Without wasting a single moment, please try to carry out the order. King Ugrasena knows very well that you warriors of the Kuru dynasty improperly fought with the pious Samba, who was alone, and that with great difficulty and unrighteous tactics you have arrested him. We have heard all this news, but we are not very much agitated because we are most intimately related to one another. I do not think we should disturb our good relationship. We should continue our friendship without any unnecessary fighting. Please, therefore, immediately release Samba and bring him, along with his wife Lakshmana, before me. We'll hear their response next week. Krishna Book Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripasundhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. All right, and now for a bonus because it's Kartik. Oh, homework. Yeah, so read chapters 64. Wait. How many chapters?
5.
65, 66, and 67. And all of 68, because we're going to be finishing that next week. And you can give any reflections in the chat. And you can also talk about Kartik if you like. Any inspiration you have for the month of Kartik. We're going to be reciting now the Damodar Ashtakam. This is an ancient song glorifying Krishna's childhood pastimes. We'll recite it in Sanskrit, then we'll read the translation together in a traditional melody.
Do you want to stop the recording or you want to keep recording?
Let's keep recording. Actually, let's do the translation first, maybe.
Okay.
That way we can go right into the Maha Mantra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn my audio on. And you can mute you.
Okay.
Listening. No, no. Hi, Krishna. Krishna. Okay.
I can't hear you.
Thank you. I didn't realize Shamya had already muted himself. Sorry. He hasn't, I guess. You have to mute your computer audio too. Yeah. So I put in the chat the WhatsApp group in the Krishna Book WhatsApp group, the song lyrics, but I'll also pop it in the chat. See if it will work. Yep. here. And then I also put a picture in the chat that was of how you can offer your lamp however you'd like, but if you'd like to try, you can have a little candle or a ghee lamp and offer it clockwise. So if you're going clockwise, and 4 times at Krishna's, or picture of Krishna's feet, 2 times at the navel, 3 times at the head and his head, and 7 times around his whole body. And you also can do that around your whole altar. Okay. Musicians audio. You want to turn the lights off, please? Okay. Do you all have the lyrics? Otherwise, I have notebooks too. Then we have our ghee lamps here. So first, we're gonna read the translation. Shamia, do you want to read the first part, and maybe we can go around the room?
To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine room of Gokula, and who, to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from the swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar I offer my humble obeisances.
Amy, nice and loud.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he's crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his 2 lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaken because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning in the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that these forms of yours as Bala Gopala in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use of me of any other boon besides this?
What number was that?
You're on 5.
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. Aaron, Begnosh.
Six, right?
Yep.
O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool, who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
Whoever wants to unmute, read next.
Okay. O Lord Damodara, just as the 2 sons of Kuvera, Managriva, and Nalakuvara were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own prema bhakti. I long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation.
One more online.
O Lord Damodara, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord who displays unlimited pastimes.
Haribol.
Oh.
So just gonna sing together. Shami's gonna play in the harmonium, and we won't do call and response. We'll just all sing together. Can you hear online? Well, he hasn't started. Can you hear? Yeah. Vario Daraya Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Damarashikam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Gopal Krishna ki jai.
Jai.
Burlington Bhakti Sangha Beyond ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Happy
Krishna.
Kartik.
Happy Kartik. Happy Kartik, everybody who joined on later too. Eva, Julia's here, Shannon's here, Haribol Shakti's husband's there. Haribol, Hare Krishna, everyone, and we look forward to singing with you all Kartik long. Tuesday nights we'll do this, and anytime we're in person together, we'll do it. And have a beautiful, beautiful night. And thanks for taking the time to share your devotion with us. Hare Krishna. Good night. Love you all.